What's going on, Jaguars Den? This is Cameron Devon Crew. I am on a call right now with one of my longest standing students, alumni, all around fantastic guy, Mr. Alex. And what we're going to do is a bit of a testimonial call, and we're going to talk with Alex about a little bit of his backstory, where he was, decided to go to the next level in his self-development and dating journey, what it was like for him reaching and working towards hitting the apex in terms of results, and a little bit about what Alex currently has going on in his life. So yeah, man, thank you so much for your time and for joining. This will be super valuable for the community to be able to get some insight directly from you, to understand a little bit about your story, since you're such a pivotal member of the community. And we always appreciate we always appreciate your presence anytime we have you in the group coaching calls. And I think the guys can just really benefit from hearing about where you were whenever you decided to take your life and your results to the next level, and what actually worked for you in your process. Because at the end of the day, all of us inside Jaguars Den, we're all committed to self-actualization and some level of self-mastery, and also hitting the apex in terms of results in success with women. And as we all know, that those goals may look differently from each man to each man. Some guys want to maximize their bachelor life experience. Some guys really want a marriage and a family. But nonetheless, I always find it super beneficial anytime someone else can share their story and their experience, because what works for you, what's going to work for another guy, it's not necessarily going to be the same exact thing. So I just wanted to record this, to give this as a blessing to everybody in the community, to get some fresh insights directly from you about what worked for you. So yeah, man, thank you so much again for your time and for sharing tonight. And let's just start. Introduce yourself to anyone in the community who may not be familiar with you, and we'll go from there. I have some questions lined up for you. Focus on hearing about your story.
But it's been a crazy journey, man, since I went into the program and now like where I'm at now. It's just been such a transformation. Sometimes these things I kind of look back upon myself and I was in such a different place where I am now. And I'm just thinking like, what an improvement. You don't see it from time perspective. But when you go back, you're like, wow, I was a completely different person. I didn't really know what I wanted, like at a deep level. Even you helped me with that, like finding myself and finding a lot of things about myself. I just wanted to get better at dating with women. We had to go a lot deeper. And as far as like the coaching, we went really, really deep. A lot of things that I found out about myself. It's definitely been the most transformative year of my life when I joined the coaching programs. Yeah, happy to help, man. Glad to be here.
Excellent. Okay, so let's make sure we cover some super basic info. How old are you? Where are you from? And what do you do in your career?
Yeah, so I'm from Sacramento, California. I'm currently 34 years old. I'm a business owner, own a couple of restaurants in the area. So I've been doing that for a while, been in that business. And I just wanted to improve my social skills. That's kind of how I got into the program. So that's just my background. My background is actually born in Belarus, Eastern European.
Yes, indeed. Okay,
Mm.
so here's exactly what I thought about you when we first met. So we jump onto a Zoom call, we do a consultation. I'm just getting to know you. And I'm thinking to myself, here's a really good looking, young, I think you were probably 31 or 32 at the time,
Yeah,
young,
yep.
in really good shape. I recall you were gearing up to run a marathon out in California that year. Successful entrepreneur. So basically, looks, money, mindset, you had a lot of that, right? You were really well developed at that point. So to share with the guys, what exactly were some of your actual sticking points that you could identify in hindsight, right? That were
Yeah.
holding you back at that time, when you decided to make the decision to level up.
Yeah, so it's exactly what you're saying, like basically you looked at me and I'm kind of that picture perfect guy. You're like, okay, he's making six figures. He's a 6'3" guy, good looking, handsome, like dresses decently somewhat, but like what's missing here? So that's kind of like where sticking point is just the lack of confidence, didn't know how to get the confidence, didn't know how to approach women, just didn't have a belief, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of negative self-talk in myself. Obviously, there's things like where you did help me improve physically. I already had like I was in shape, I was like physically good, but at the same time I was missing little things, coaching as far as like eating healthy and all that. But those are the biggest things. Just couldn't approach, extremely, you could say like socially awkward. I just couldn't connect with women at that point. And like that was a lot of sticking points. Those are the major ones though, for sure.
Okay, cool, cool. And then let me clarify this one thing. So when you decided that you wanted to like get some kind of coaching or to join a community to help you
Mm.
in your journey, what was your primary goal? What was it, literally just romantic, or was it something more internal? What was your actual goal when you first started?
Think my goal was more, yeah, get better at dating. I wasn't getting much results. I think I told you, I think you checked out, like I had a profile and stuff, dating. You checked out my Instagram. You're like, yeah, you don't really got much going for you here, as far as like you're not trying, you kind of right away knew what was going on. But my main goal was to actually get better at dating and just social skills. That was definitely the bigger thing that I got into.
Exactly. And then, like you said already, you pretty much had the majority of the areas in your life very stable,
Right.
if not excelling in most areas, right? You
Yeah.
also come from a really strong family. So you were well established in your career, good personal income for yourself, homeowner. You had everything going in terms of
Yeah.
stability. And also, you were already into self work, I recall, whenever we first met. I
Yeah, some
think
RSD stuff and, some personal development things, self-improvement.
Yeah, what I recall was and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I recall you saying something to the effect of, I feel like I spent my 20s building my business and I didn't really get out there and socialize a lot. So you just felt, you were a bit green when it came to cold approaching and actually getting results from nothing to something with women. When you got into the program, what did it look like for you? What work did you start doing on yourself, self-development and in terms of campaigning? Kind of give some insight into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the biggest thing is like I knew a lot of things. I was the guy that would research a lot of things or watch things online, but I had a lot of things going for me, but it wasn't like integrated properly, if that makes sense. Like there was like a huge missing piece that you really helped me put together. I'll just give an example. Even something as simple as cold approach, right? Just coming up to a woman, just saying hi. You could watch thousands of videos upon it. However, without a coach or someone to push you or someone to get you to do it, like you just won't do it. Like there's multiple times where you'd attempt it and then you're kind of second guess. Well, what I would do is just second guess myself. I'm like, did I actually do it correctly or was I, what was wrong there? And like, I don't really have anybody to go off of. So a lot of times when I get into the program, I would go out. I'm still pretty bad at that point. I'm not really fluid. I'm really nervous. Like I'm so much in my head. I don't know how to like calm myself. I don't really have but I know you just had to push me to get it done. But the times when I would get it done and it didn't go well, I would go back to you with feedback and I would be like, Cam, like this and this happened, like it went pretty bad, this and that. You're like, okay, that's totally fine. You see it all the time. So you kind of basically kept encouraging me to stick to the process because I think a lot of times when I did try to do it by myself, I would just kind of give up and then I wouldn't really, yeah, there was no progress basically being made. But here you're like, dude, this is actually, you're on the right course. You're doing exactly what you need to do. This many approaches, do that, do this. And it was all kind of, that's what I'm saying, the integration part where it was
Mm.
getting integrated. All that stuff I knew, if you don't take the right actions or the right steps, it's like, it's kind of useless, almost pretty much a best
Right,
way to say
right.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so here's how I kind of break the program down when I'm first meeting someone, and here's how I still look at it now. I view success with women in three pillars, which is basically your worldviews, so your values, your principles, your
Mm.
beliefs that make up your overall mindset, and then your outer game, and then your relationship management. So what do you do with the results that you get? And the first thing that I try to do or to put in place for a new student is okay, we need structure and routine because I believe your daily habits, routines, and rituals make up the quality of your life. So the first thing we do the three foundational journals. If you remember, my ideal self as a man, my ideal
Mm.
woman, my ideal lifestyle, right? We do that, and I do have a question about this, but we start
Yeah.
with those three journals. So we start the program right away with you doing a lot of self-reflection. I try and get everybody to start reflecting on childhood and their adolescence and their early adult life to see if or how any experiences you had or any relationships that you had, the impact of those, how they're affecting you today. So we
Hmm.
start there and then we get kind of a weekly routine in place, things that you can do on a daily, weekly basis so that you can start building momentum. That includes the morning routine, the affirmations, the gratitude journal, then your work schedule, some kind of exercise regimen, diet and health being accounted for as well. Then your evening routine, tidying up the place, getting that Macish energy in your environment, getting fresh and clean in and out of the shower, more affirmations,
Mm,
visualization, and then ideally some kind of spiritual practice, meditation, prayer, what have you. So
mm.
we got that in place. And you actually were still to this day are one of the best, the better students at actually getting the routine and making it a part of your actual lifestyle. But you've taken it to a whole nother level, which I do want to get into. But um, so before we get into the routine, when we started originally getting to know each other and me talking with you, listening to your story and your background as you were opening up, right? And you did those three journals that required a lot of self-reflection. What was that beneficial, the self-reflection, and what things came up for you that you were able to process and work through that helps you move forward?
I mean, yeah, like I didn't expect that first of all, as a dating coach. I thought we were just gonna go out and just pick up women, and that's
Right.
what I thought like this requires. However,
Then it turned into
I'm
therapy.
I'm yeah, I'm grateful that it was like both sides were combined because you don't focus just on the external, you do both, you integrate both external, internal. So I was actually really surprised. I was like, man, some of these questions are making me really feel uncomfortable because nobody's asked me that. Not my closest friends, not my, anything, not my family. And yeah, that's why I was deeply surprised by like the amount of questioning and going into childhood. Like why, because you looked at me and you're like, I think you said when you looked at my face, you like, there's a lot of trauma just within your face because I see how like blocked or like locked up you are inside yourself. So that was one thing very closed off to the world. And no shit, you're gonna have a problem with women being like that. So that's why you had to uncover that part first. What is happening here? Like almost like a therapist breaking it down step by step, what's going on, and a lot of uncomfortable moments. However, those uncomfortable moments they were painful, but they allowed you to release something, whatever that was. When we talked about it, if we want to go deeper into it, talking about family things, how my dad is, my mom, brothers, and everything, what has affected, what are my past relationships, what have they been, what's your relationship with myself and how I feel about myself. Because I know you would dive into my mindset a lot. You would be like Alex, like stop talking about yourself like this because that's negative and that's this, and you're actually deprecating yourself. You're making yourself have worse results. That's definitely stepped in as a coach, like which I didn't expect. The inner part, that was a huge blessing. That's actually exactly what I needed. I thought I needed the other thing, which is the external and learning the scripts and how to say, how to talk to women, all that. However, like, yeah, that was the bigger, so probably like 80% of the work was actually the inner work that we did as far as this gratitude journals, meditation, yeah, just going through the course, the three, the beliefs about yourself, beliefs about women. Actually, beliefs about women had me probably stuck the most. Like that journal was like life changing as far as
Which one
just
exactly?
because just how I view my future ideal woman.
Mhm.
Yeah, that journal was life changing because it gave me a self realization of what are my inner thoughts about women at that time because they were actually pretty negative because I'd watch a lot of red pill content, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, like the things I said subconsciously to women were actually triggering them to not want to talk to me. And they just see me as, dude, like you're basically shooting yourself in the foot here. And I didn't realize that until we had to break it down with self-realization and journaling. That was a profound thing.
100%. And
Yeah.
I love that you said the 80-20. I'm a firm believer that like success with women is really 80% self-development. So whenever I make videos
And
online,
I was surprised by that myself.
right. But when I make
Yeah.
videos online, I don't talk as much about that because it doesn't get the same amount of views, right? Like most men don't
Yeah.
think that the reason that they're not succeeding with women at a high level, they don't understand that it's like the therapeutic work they need to do. They think it's like, I
Yeah.
just need a more of a tightly defined six pack and a better car, right? But it's like not the case. And the thing is,
Y-
most of the students in the program are like you, like they have that area of their life on lockdown. And
right.
so it's root cause analysis, you understanding your own past and experiences that you had and how you internalize them. Really, a lot of it is just by revealing that. That's a lot of the work right there, like the self awareness. And then we try and work through any of it that we can through conversation or through some of the journal work. I think that unlocks, though, your internal world in a way where you're able then to start thinking differently about yourself, to develop a different self image and be open to different experiences out in your external world when you're meeting women and stuff like that. So it's just this great unlock that we can then take advantage of to punch through and get better results in the real world. But okay,
Right.
so I'd love for you to share about this because here's the thing. I I know you and what makes you really successful as a businessman and in terms of like your health and your fitness, running marathons, all that stuff, is you have your routines down. You're highly disciplined. So, can you talk a little bit about what your routines were? So, like, not necessarily like what my program is, but like what routines did you actually put in place for yourself that really worked the best for you for your self-development and for getting results with women?
Yeah, so as crazy as it sounds, like basically the work that we did at home, the meditations, we did breath work, we did the journaling, right? So that's before I even stepped out the house. Those are the main three things that were really beneficial because it raised my like my mood, my mentality, how I view myself, and then I walk out like a whole different person, walk out the house. The the other thing was constant approaching. Don't get me wrong, like we're talking about inner game, but there's a lot of external game that has to be done. You have to go out, you have to talk, you have to communicate with women. Just you can be social. Like sometimes if you're super nervous, you can socialize with anybody. However, there's a certain amount of sets that we had to do by the end of the week, and if we kind of went back and forth. Sometimes you do better, some weeks you do worse. And then usually you'd review that with like how much inner work you did is usually how much more successful you were with your external game. And it really like matched up because it was crazy how that would work. But once I'm thinking about it now, I'm like, the more inner work I did, and then I would go out and we're like, we have a night out, or let's say we did the boot camp, you feel better about yourself, better results, things were clicking, it made sense what was going on. And like it was a wild journey, especially those first 3 months.
You got into an upward spiral.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a
Yeah.
self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like the point, so the self-reflection is that great unlock. But then, okay, what
Yep.
do we do with that? Now we're open mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So from there, the routines, the way I think about it, is creating unification between the mind, the body, the spirit, and the physical action. So you're doing your gratitude journal, your affirmations, your visualization, among other things. And you're rewiring your brain to think way more powerfully, way more positively, right? Then at first, I think almost everybody, I mean, we're grown men. You're like, "Oh, okay, I'm like saying these little positive things in a journal. Is this really going to work
Right.
when I'm in field?" But then you're spending, you're writing one or two journals every single day. Then Thursday, Friday rolls around, and you're also doing the meditation, going and working out, taking care of your body. Then Thursday, Friday, Saturday rolls around. Now it's time to do some infield as well. So Friday, you get off from your work, you work out, come back home, tidy up the place, light an incense, turn on an essential oils diffuser, get fresh and clean, do some affirmations, do a powerful visualization journal, meditate. So you have your mind primed, right? And your environment's primed. Then you step out and then you start realizing, you do the basic opening. Excuse me, I thought you looked really nice and I just wanted to give you that compliment. But it's not the lines, it's what's going on in your inner dialogue that's making you
Yeah.
have good emotions that the woman is feeling. And then it creates that self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm starting to think I'm attractive to women in a variety of ways, and I think highly of myself in a variety of ways. So then when the woman feels my essence, she just basically gives that back to you, right? Like she just
Yeah.
affirms that prophecy. So
Because what was for me, like I'm just saying for myself, I'm a very analytical person,
yeah,
or used to be more analytical and very like observant because I never liked expressing myself or talking about myself. Like I'm way more comfortable at it now. However, I never really like to expose what's in me. Like I had some kind of blockage. However, I'm very like in tune. I'm actually paying attention. I'm like looking how the girls are responding to what we're saying. And I would notice every single week, the more work we did, they would respond differently, literally the same. Did I change much? No, I changed how I feel about myself. So you would notice the difference in responses. I would say the same script. We pretty much say the same thing. It's not
yeah,
really about the script. So you'd coach us on that, and like pretty much you just get different results depending on how you're feeling that day and how what's going on within you internally.
yeah,
So
man. It's the
guys don't
biggest
believe that, but yeah.
it's the biggest differentiator. Like not to talk down about other pickup coaches because I like the fact that everyone's out here spreading awareness that like, hey, getting better results is possible. Guys get in the program and they're always looking for some magic David Blaine-esque line that's going to make a woman attracted to you. We say
Right.
the same line, excuse me, I thought you looked fill in the blank compliment, and I just wanted to let you know that. But it's exactly what you said. The more powerful your internal dialogue is, that's what creates the attraction in the women. The better you feel about
Yeah.
yourself, the better they feel about you. It's really that
And can
simple.
I can I say something as far as the
Yeah.
the looks wise just like popped up. Like, don't get me wrong, like, yeah, you can be an attractive guy. Like, I'm 6'4". I have things going for me. Like, I got the looks, I got the height, right? But when I would get into the conversation in the beginning, it wouldn't last long. It would just fizzle out so quick because the women feel what I noticed, the women feel that you don't have that masculinity behind you, that leadership, that self belief in yourself. And they are finely tuned into that because, okay, like I got the height, but that would get me in the door just slightly more for like 10, 15, 20 more seconds than the average guy, just because I got the looks, the height. However, if you don't have the internal belief, I just want to say, because I know a lot of people believe you got to be over 6 feet and this and that. So I was just trying to disprove this, just coming from my self experience. Like it would get me easier to approach those first 15, 20 seconds, girls that are looking for a tall guy. However, like they would just not be interested in the same way if you have those internal beliefs in yourself.
Yeah,
That was
100%. Like
huge.
it creates like the first impression that you naturally possess is going to be stronger. It's going to work in your favor. But then when you're in the set, the woman is ultimately going to feel, she's going to reflect back to you how you feel. And that's the part that guys, and that's the part that there's no shortcut. You have to do the inner work and actually feel abundant internally to maintain attraction. It's different getting attraction. Like a dude could pull up in a Ferrari, dude, and get attraction.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the woman will lose attraction if he doesn't feel confident about himself internally. Eventually, the halo effect of
And
his Ferrari is going to fucking wear off.
And can I say something like on that topic? Just, dude, I hated that feeling of like trying to improve yourself on your looks, external looks,
Yeah,
and like everything weighs on the look. So you get rejected, and now you're like, and you don't got nothing else, you don't feel good about yourself. It just feels like horrible.
it's even
And
worse. Yeah,
it's even worse because it's coming from a place they don't accept you physically, and then you don't have the internal part. So it's like a
right.
double. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't have like, so I got into the game super young, right? So like, I never went through that, but I couldn't imagine being a guy where you like work, get the Lambo, get the fly condo, and the watch, and then you roll out and still get rejected because the thing is like
Dude, it's bad.
at that point, the
Yeah.
only thing that you could blame that on is you. You're like, fuck, they just don't like me.
Yeah, now you got no other options. You're like, what else should I get? The newer Lambo like this or what? So yeah, it leads you eventually leads you to that path.
Yeah, yeah. And then the thing is when you get the core confidence, right? Then the Lambo just becomes an amplifier, right?
Oh
Okay.
yeah, then yeah, exactly.
One, the boot camp. So you actually took advantage of the boot camp. You came out, we did a boot camp infield training together in Las Vegas. Do you want to generally talk about what that experience was like? I do. Let me preface you. So you gave
I
me,
was delaying that for quite a while. Remember, when I was in the program, I kept,
yeah,
nah, I gotta impress Cam. I gotta be this
right.
level. So I kept delaying it until it eventually happened. But
Yeah, which was dope. Bro. I loved having you in the city. But so you gave me share your experience like being in field together, which is basically like us going out and like doing like a wingman boot camp weekend. You gave me like the best line ever. I remember we're in Cosmo. We're doing a bunch of opens. It's like night one. We're doing a bunch of opens, which I think is probably the first shock factor of the program, how much I really open. And then I
right.
remember I'm like, all right, go open them, probably do the line. And then you come back, I'm like, how'd that go? And you start explaining it, right? You start explaining it, and you're like, oh yeah, one said this, and I was like, all right, cool, we'll open them. and then, and then later you gave me a piece of feedback, but I'll let you explain it. But yeah, man, what was boot camp like?
Well, yeah, the feedback was you're like, let's just take action here, let's not waste time. So I'm like, Cam, like you don't really like care about like the rejection I noticed. And that was the thing that I said to you, right? It seems like you
Yeah,
don't care about
your exact words was because you were talking about it in the group call to all the other guys at the end of the week,
right.
and you were like, yeah, on boot camp with Cam, it was like I would, he asked me, how'd that set go, and I would start explaining it. He just would be like, all right, approach them as if it never happened. Yeah, which
I
was
mean, dude,
genuinely
yeah,
my
you
experience.
you would
I
literally you would
Yeah,
literally approach women that are like 2 feet away from you, I think. You're like, dude, go approach her. And I'm like, did you approach the other girl that's next to her? And I'm like, no, I didn't. You're like, go back and fucking do it. I
yeah,
was just shocked by the amount of like confidence and the amount of balls you had to do that. Cause I was like, what? This dude is on something else. Like this, it's a different level of confidence. That's what I was blown away by the most. It's just like how chill. Cause I remember I was like, you're just like, your energy is very like grounded and centered, and mine was like all up in my head. I was like thinking like, Cam, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do this? It's like, bro, like chill. We're about to go pick up some bitches, you know? Like, it's all good. There's nothing to, so yeah, you kind of definitely like the big thing about boot camp. Yeah, it's being around a person that knows how to do it and how he feels about himself. It's a huge thing because I was picking up off of your energy, how smooth and calm you were. And like, you're like, this is just normal for me, you know? This is nothing like, because I had it like a little bit on a pedestal. I'm like, okay, we're in Vegas. There's all these beautiful women, you know, she's hotter or something like that, you know? Like I had that kind of belief, like if this woman's hotter, you got to talk to her different, you know? And then you kind of broke all that down and basically coming from a different frame, I was matching all women the same way. Like I didn't matter in her looks, it didn't matter this. It's just, and I seen you do it in person. That's what helped me kind of, you know, pull those. Doesn't matter how high. You just said, go that one, this one looks nice. And I was like, bro, sometimes you were just getting me the experience as fast as possible. I didn't want to like approach. I'm like, no, she's not pretty enough or this or that. And like obviously it was like I didn't want to do it because all that rejection. However, you knew that like that getting the momentum is so much more important. And then I realized that I'm like, that's why you're getting me into these sets so quick because it's not as big of a deal as I was making it, basically. So that was the big learning lesson of boot camp. I mean, there's plenty of lessons we had. It was such crazy nights and like
Yeah.
so many people we talked to. We met like Instagram like models and everything. We met people who were just on vacation, just the average people. We met girls with what, like 200K followers, 300K, just talking to them like normal people. And that's what I'm saying. We were talking to models. Yeah, it was a wild 2 nights, yeah, that I had to stay. So it's cool.
Yeah. Not to like go on a tangent or anything, but here's how I look at quote unquote boot camp or like campaigning in general. I have a completely different mindset in terms of the perspective that I look at everything through. So when I'm campaigning, the reason people think I don't care or give a fuck isn't that. It's actually not that. I am like, I am so focused on my action. And I'm so little focused on what happens with a particular woman that it creates that dynamic. So like I'm operating from a different mental paradigm.
That's so true. Yeah.
What
That's what I didn't
success
understand at first. Yeah.
success in my paradigm is, am I taking the action that I want to take? That's success. I literally place almost no value on like what the woman does in response to what I do. Now I'm hyper aware of them, obviously. I pay very deep attention, but that's not the point. I could go out and open 50 sets and I'm focused on, was my tonality good? Was my eye contact good? Was my body language good? Did I approach with intention? Did I approach as many women as I wanted to approach? And nothing could happen, and I would feel 10 out of 10 about that. Or I could approach one woman who I end up hooking up with, and like I wouldn't feel any better about that. I would feel successful for doing what it is that I want to do. And that's how I basically look at life. It's freedom from the result. I am more focused on the process and the action that I'm taking than I am on the external world that I can't control. So just from like a philosophical level, I think it's a better way to live in general. I would love to hear this feedback. So after the boot camp, that's when you like things I think started really clicking for you in terms of your confidence. And then pretty soon after there, you kind of met the woman that you ended up in a relationship, right? So can you share a
Mhm.
little bit about that? And then here's what I'm super curious to hear. Like, again, you took your daily routines and your self-development journey to like a whole different level, which I really want to get into that as well with some of the experiment. I look at you like the new Tim Ferriss. So after boot camp, how did you get into your relationship that's successful today? And then we'll dive into some of the stuff that you do personally for continued self-development.
Yeah. So basically going back to after boot camp, the most transformative 2 days of my life, like hands down. I think that those 2 days, I don't know how you squeezed in that much campaigning plus self-development work in like 2 days. That was crazy. However, when I got back, like I noticed it was like such a different shift in approaching women and how I feel about myself. I was like, now I'm excited. I want to do this.
Mhm.
Before, I was never really excited to do it because I didn't see what the actual potential of it was until I flew to Vegas and had the whole experience. And now I'm like, damn, this is actually really, really fun. You made me like realize like going out and just talking and vibing, like it's way more fun and like I'm not sure. I guess you transform my mindset more than anything
It's like being in
on
a
how
real
to,
life music video, right? Like we would
yeah,
meet
you're
up
like,
at the Aria, do our self-development routines, grab a glass
we're in
of
a movie.
wow.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
literally
dude.
had our own movie that night, like most of the nights, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
And you're like, you want to just keep talking about it. You want to keep that night going just because how it went, the woman you went, sometimes we just right then and there, just take him off the strip, take him to like nearby bar, have a good time. Like they're already like we've known each other, we're hanging out. So that was like definitely you made me realize what the potential is, if that makes sense. You kind of blew the world open a bit for me. Like, what is the potential? So I got back. Okay, so going back, I got back to Sacramento. Now I want to try it here. I'm like, maybe this shit only works in Vegas. So that got me like interested. I'm like, and the same thing works here in Sacramento. So I applied the same principles, same techniques, same self-development work, kept up on that, and it just kept going, getting better and better from there. And you were still guiding me. Like I was still meeting people in person. You told me to keep the dating apps on, which I met the first girl which I was like a more longer relationship in,
Right.
and you helped me kind of coach me because I'm like I never really had a serious relationship. Like what the hell do I do now? So you kind of guided me through a little bit of everything. I feel like it was not just yeah, like what do I even text message help? Like I sometimes didn't know like is this too much? Is this too forward? Like little things like just kind of calling you like Cam, this is going on, or
Yeah.
I'm going on
Yeah.
a
Well, I
second
want to
date.
highlight
Like
that. I want to highlight that a little bit.
yeah.
Like, so as a coach, here's how I know someone's going to do really well. All right. First, everybody starts the program well. They open up, they get a lot of self-awareness, they reflect on things, right? Boom, it looks promising for them. And then the second stage is okay, do they start doing the routines? Like, do they actually start doing the self-development work at home? Do they even try going out? If they do, then I know they're going to hit like stage three. So, like, they're going to be campaigning and they're going to get results because just the combination of self-development and outer game techniques just works, right? So they're going to get results. From that point, I look for basically one thing. When they start getting results, are they going to get out of the game and quit the process too early because they get complacent with the wrong woman, right? And I always warn guys, and it always happens. When you are going out getting results, so you're going out, you're getting results, some girls you're dating, whatever, you're still doing the self-development work. Can you talk about how important it is, for you to be able to be out at night and then like shoot me a late night call to like quickly break down what happened in field, or if you're texting a girl like you said and you want to talk about the psychology or frame behind something very specific. Can you share that? Because I encourage guys to actually reach out to me because like we need to have a level of like availability for you to be able to talk to me when things are fresh. Some guys
Right.
do it, and those are the guys that get results. And the guys who don't,
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely about how you apply yourself in the program. You could say one person can do it one way with you. I mean, one way, like the outcome could be very different, like for each student. Like I've seen many students go through a program and I notice different outcomes. And I could see who's going to be also like the most to improve in the program. However, yeah, going to your question to what you were saying, it's like how you're going to apply, how you're going to apply yourself. And then I just decided to basically just do it at a maximum level that I can, like as far as getting the amount of approaches in and just doing my maximum what I could. So I felt like I got the best results.
all right, so
Yeah.
post boot camp, your confidence is integrated now and you have the routines down. You're going out, you know how to campaign open to close. What did it look like post boot camps as you started getting results?
Yeah. So now post boot camp, just noticed like a big transformation happen. Started feeling a lot better about myself. Started feeling where the dates weren't just going from just a couple of hours or interaction or sometimes just like minutes. It was extending longer and longer. Basically, the first date would go now from first date to second date to third. And it felt like now you kind of got the game part down as far as like making the logistics happen,
Right.
where to meet, how to meet, how to get the contact information, how to keep it going, to give yourself basically the best position as far as like getting into a relationship, how to screen her, how to do all that. And
I want to touch on two specific things. So like
yeah.
post boot camp, that's when you started like for the first time ever getting your same night pull, right? From going out, meeting a woman, cold approach to closing the deal.
Yeah, yeah, that was post boot camp. So this never. Never happened where you can make it happen within the same night. And it was right around that time, like Halloween night. I think that was like my first from open to close, basically, where I took her home and this and that. And
You
one
went
thing
out to
led to
some
another.
bars downtown Sac, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
downtown
remember
Sac.
you. I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
So yeah, and then I was like, Cam, this really
Question.
works, you know? Yeah.
Question for you. So like this is really for like the other guys, right? Like I want them to believe in the possibility of it. For you, because you pretty much got to the point where you could replicate that result. It wasn't random, like it wasn't luck. Like yeah. So for
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
in your own opinion, what gave you the power to be able to do that? Like was it the framework, like how to structure your night? Was it the confidence? Was it some kind of verbal screening and qualifying? What worked?
Yeah, I'm kind of it was a combination of things. And I'm thinking it was just so, when I told you I was just a very beginner guy, didn't have much reference experiences. And I didn't even really know what the possibility was, basically. So I think you framing it and like giving me the ideas to write about this and journal about this and what's possible for me, because I didn't believe I could get into a relationship and like actually have like hold a long-term relationship. You had to reprogram that part, where which you made me believe in myself again. So I didn't really know how far it can take because I never really had it where I could take it really far. So the thing for me is like what I noticed is it just kept going like further and further. Like I was able to obviously replicate the results and it would seem to get smoother and better. Like the more time it would go out. So that's what I'm trying to so that's what I'm saying as far as the reference
Like
experiences
the
help
from
me.
open to close just got more seamless. It's kind of like I've been
Yeah,
here before. I know exactly what the next step is.
right, right, exactly. And then it just kept getting more seamless and it'll progress from first date now like into like a longer term relationship. And I feel like I could do it in any city. Anywhere I wanted. I can do it in Vegas, Sacramento. So go travel somewhere, maybe international, apply the same principles and just replicate as far as that. So that's why once you get that core confidence, you really just operate at a different level.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's like you said, a lot of guys have this idea that like this only works in Vegas. But like the beautiful thing is whenever the open to close process is real. So like whenever you can do that, I mean, you can literally take a weekend trip somewhere, meet a woman, cold approach, and have a really quality experience with her, even if it's just that weekend. And that's another big thing. Like, because you're not really a big drinker at all. I think
Casual, yeah.
a lot of guys avoid night game, and this is a great transition. A lot of guys avoid night game because they think they're only going to meet low quality women or women who are drunk or slutty. Talk a little bit about that, man. Like, because if I'm not mistaken, I think you were like post boot camp. There was a point where you were dating one girl that you ultimately had to like charge to the game because she ultimately ended up not being a good fit, right? And she was
Right. Yeah.
good looking, all that kind of stuff. But and then obviously you met the woman who you're in a successful relationship with. Talk a little bit about that, bro. Like once you learn the sequence of how to go out and actually close the deal and bring a woman into your life, how you learned to screen and qualify by identifying certain red flags, and
Right.
also can you bust the myth that guys can't meet a good woman out?
Yeah, dude. All that. So, yeah, like going out, you start to meet higher quality women. The more you go out, you see what you like, what you're interested in. Because honestly, I didn't even really know like what's going on, what's out here. So I'm not going out. I'm not dating as much. I wasn't barely got my foot out the door. Now you're just like I said, operating at a different level. The woman that I did meet, yeah, like I told you, she was attractive. I was really into her like physical looks and she was my type and this and that, right? We did start dating pretty fast. She was very interested. We actually, funny enough, you told me to keep my was a Hinge profile and I just kept going with that.
Hmm.
And I noticed my messaging improved quite a bit on Hinge because that's how you have to attract them. It's like the more you believe in yourself, it translates into the way you type on your phone. So now you're coming off more confident even on a dating app. So I'll keep the dating apps open. We kept the gaming going to the mall, which is actually a lot more what you're saying. The amount of women is actually like it's crazy how many women you can meet out. You can go to Target, go to the store. You're like, and I was
Yeah.
like, that seems weird, like going to a grocery store coming from me. However, the way you approach it and the way you do it is not weird at all. It's actually like it feels very natural,
Hmm.
organic. You can come up to a woman, Whole Foods,
Yeah.
getting a coffee, come up.
Because you would even do the instant dates in the daytime too. just intentional opener. If they receive it,
Oh
then you
yeah.
would just get some froyo or something like right
Oh
there.
yeah, you just go to the mall. You just from your experience, basically like pooling or taking them or moving venues, apply the same principle to daytime, moving them over to a coffee shop there. The more experiences you have with them, the higher results you have. So it's just you kind of pick up those reference experiences. You see those patterns over and over. And to anybody who's like who wants to apply themselves, you can get very good like very fast. That's like one thing I noticed. It's like improvement was insanely quick.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
You got really good at doing both the self-development and the campaigning from open to close down, like in a regimented way, really fast. Okay, cool. Yeah, so
Right. And the woman that was gonna go back to, why you assisted me and kind of like I noticed, since we were having our coaching calls every week, I was telling you about this woman, like she's this and she's that, and like you were picking up on subtle signs that she wasn't fully like you had like a sixth
I,
sense.
I told you to keep a
And
foot in the game.
yeah, and the thing is, yeah, you told me to keep my, keep a foot in game, keep going out, and you're like, you already kind of, I think you already knew the breakup was coming. However, we
100,
dated for 3 months, and I thought you were so serious, this and that, we're gonna make this work, and you didn't want to tell me because, which is a good thing on your part, because I needed that, like more of a heartbreak
right,
situation since I never really had that. And then I felt like you were telling me just enough so I could experience it,
right.
but then you didn't want me to fail at the same time completely, where you're like, keep going out, keep doing this, suggesting things, but you didn't want to tell me directly, hey, cut her off, right now, like Alex, she's not for you, I know you, like, yeah. So that was definitely like well coached part. Like that was actually like, yeah, going back to that moment, I was like, definitely needed that.
Yeah, because you needed to internalize, like you needed to have the firsthand experience to understand fully, like, and then
Yeah.
that way you could apply that and understand moving in the future, right? I remember that.
Yeah. I
Okay,
was so
cool.
devastated, this and that, and like you're just like, dude, it's all good, you kind of getting me through it, and yeah, it
Yeah.
was all. I really
Okay.
appreciate that moment, man.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then you end up meeting a woman who's like actually your ideal woman. How did that happen?
Yeah, so kept campaigning, kept taking your advice, kept going out. And it's just like random night. I think the night was like I think I was actually like calling you that night. I was like, man, I really feel like going out tonight, Cam. Like you think I should go out, this and that. And you
Yeah.
gave me an exact, basically routine, do this, do that before do a little journal, do a little visualization, go out that night. I really didn't feel like it. A lot of times you don't because you're like, but that raised your vibe up and went out, and that's how I met. It was actually like ended up being some concert that night in Sacramento, and I was
Mhm.
just literally just practicing my verbal game, just practicing my approaches, social skills, like just having fun with it, and ran across somebody, got her number, contact information, this and that, put my bid in, right? Like I didn't think nothing was gonna happen out of it. As with all women, I don't give them that complete, attention, and I just keep it moving with all. Like I keep my energy up. So yeah, put my bid up there, and then led to a first date, second date, third date, and then kept progressing. Even though I was still dating other women while I was with her, it did eventually get to a place where I was like, okay, let me just cut it off with the other woman, and I'll just kind of focus on this thing. I just kept taking your advice, moving forward with the relationship. So that was just my dating style. So yeah, it turned out amazing. So
Yeah, that was like what, 2 years ago? That was like 2 years ago now, yeah.
yeah, almost 2 years now. Believe it or not, it's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, quite a journey, man.
Yeah, it's the full circle completion, right? Like you start with literally the approach, and then you end up actually creating, or well, sharing your life with someone.
Yeah.
Excellent, man, dude. I'm super happy for you, and like super proud of you as well. But yo, so I would love for you to share a little bit about this. Like I keep saying that you kind of took the self development and your adventure in that to another level. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've done? I know you've done like a lot of traveling, going to spiritual workshops. I think meditation and breathing things. You did the snake oil thing,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
the snake
exactly.
poison thing. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about some of the cool things that you do? Because like you're in a relationship now, so obviously you don't campaign, but you still work on your development. Can you talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. Kind of just, I've always been the type of guy that never wants to stop growing. Our mentor says, as soon as you stop growing, you're dying. So it's kind of like, so I never really had I always wanted to keep improving on myself. So now I'm like, I got this new sense of confidence, new sense of belief in myself, and I just kind of want to keep going at it, even though I'm still here practicing social skills, networking with people as a business person. So working on networking, there was a couple situation, yeah, like as far as the ceremony that we had, that with the snake venom and all that, like I feel
Hmm.
like I would never be able to do something like that without that confidence. Like I just wouldn't want to step out of my comfort zone, and what people would think of me. It gave me like a new sense of like confidence to do, what's going to improve me and what I believed is more for me. So like the snake venom experience was huge. I'm still doing like a lot of breath work things, still do a lot of meditation, getting into more like spiritual work because I knew there's like a deeper part where your teachings were coming from, and I was like wanted to explore, where this is all coming from because you actually had a pretty big background in that. So you got me in going into yoga, you got me going into breath work, you got me going doing yeah, like the marathons and stuff, more hiking, more exploring, more traveling. So I felt like something opened up within me, just like this whole area of like, how much can I do now? Like working from this perspective. Where looking at it before, I was more like sheltered. I didn't know even where the local bars were that much. I didn't know what was going on around town. Where were the women at? Like I didn't know any of this stuff as far as like I was so sheltered off and closed off, and then kind of like the whole world is yours, at that point. Like once you get that confidence, you can go anywhere. Go do it, down the street. Go do it like any at the park. That was huge.
Yeah, man. What I kind of like respect the most about you is like you were like legit willing to totally change certain areas about your life to be who you wanted to be. Like you legitimately went through like levels of an identity transformation. I think at one point you actually like bought a house somewhere so you could be more comfortable doing your thing. Is there anything pertinent that you want to share about like how like what you learned in your process of self transformation? But more importantly, do you have any recommendations for guys in the group that might be interested in getting more into the spiritual development or anything else that you found really beneficial?
Yeah, I would say it's just, I mean, the recommendations part for sure. Like you would think you're just going into coaching or this or stuff, just getting better with women. Like I found out that it was a lot deeper, and I was at a point where I was ready to kind of like not call it quits. I'm not the guy to quit, but however, like it was getting so frustrating just how bad it was. Getting a couple of Tinder likes, this and that, or like whatever, or you're just getting some small little interest, maybe making small talk or talking to coworkers or something, and it's never really going anywhere. So I feel like a lot of guys are in that place that don't, if they don't really know how to make, or they don't know where like the next step is, basically you can kind of get them there. Or like that's kind of where I'm just saying from my perspective where I was, I didn't even know that what's possible for me. Like so like even opening that part was like such a big game changer. Basically, just you showing me, oh, this is possible. From this, like your life is this, and I thought like literally you're so closed off in those spaces that you think that's your only kind of path, or you only have like this one opportunity. So I feel like that was like the more important thing, where you showed me so much more possibility. Like you kind of like unlock a different level of that person, which the person didn't really know was there. So that's what, yeah, as far as like the recommendations. So if anybody needs like a big transformation, or definitely this is exactly what you need. The right, right guidelines, getting masculine, building yourself from the ground up, basically. Like the whole package.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, thank you. That's
Yeah, man.
not what I meant. I meant like anybody in the group who's like looking for recommendations on even like some of the other coaches you work with, like for that spiritual development stuff like that.
Oh, got it. Yeah. As far
Yeah, yeah,
as, yeah, who would I recommend?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would say if you really want to take it to the next level, I would recommend Aaron Apke.
Mm.
I would recommend Joe Dispenza. I would recommend
Have you been to this in person, Joe Dispenza?
RJ Speed. I've not to Joe Dispenza. I've been to Aaron Apke's
Okay.
event, which was kind of like a crazy journey for me in itself too, because it's like you're going out. This is outside of your beliefs, and you're going to work on your spiritual self as far as like working through a lot of things. So Aaron Apke, amazing for spiritual work. Definitely like top. RJ Spina is up there as well.
Aaron Abke, Abke. Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Apke.
Yep, I see him. Okay.
He's incredible. And then yeah, just there's once you're kind of on that path, I feel like things and different opportunities kind of just open up to you, and then from there you can kind of guide your things will come up to you what is needed. I felt like yeah, those things were just coming into my life as I exactly needed them. So
Yes, indeed. Um, Sick. All right, cool. Listen, bro, thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience, man. And for anybody in the group, if you haven't had a chance to meet Alex, definitely join the group calls. You'll see him there. He's super busy, so He joins more so from time to time when he has free time. But dude, always a blessing to have you in the calls. Thank you again for your presence tonight. And
You too, Cameron. Thank you, brother. Yeah, thanks for the transformation. It's been awesome, you know. Thanks for the call. Yeah, appreciate that, man.
all right, champ. Well, look, have a great night. I'll connect with you soon.
All right. See you, brother.